goodness me. The end of 3 days of a fabulous get-together of talking about all sorts of different things in the industry, the challenges, the possibilities, all the different issues and topics that are impacting on the industry and indeed the entire sector and all the different parts that fit into it. So it gives me great pleasure for a full wrap-up of the 3 days to now welcome the Director General of the DG for Agriculture and Rural Development. Please welcome Wolfgang Butcher. Wolfgang.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, as Sasha has just indicated, 3 very interesting days come to an end. Let me thank you first for your presence, your availability, your active participation in this event. It shows your commitment, your interest in agriculture and food in Europe. For me personally, this is always a great opportunity to exchange with many of you, but even more importantly, to see how innovative, how dynamic the agriculture and food sector is in Europe. Every time I meet you, I realize that the common agricultural policy is an important element for agriculture and food in Europe, but so many things are going on in real life, in real time. And when I see all these efforts that farmers, researchers, stakeholders are undertaking to make our agriculture more competitive, but also more sustainable, then I'm sometimes disappointed that these achievements and this progress is not properly praised. If I see the report of Court of Auditors, which say, yeah, we have made efforts, yes, the green architecture is good, but we are not progressing. And then I see what each of you, these young farmers, are doing on a daily basis to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to address biodiversity issues. And this brings me to a very important point. What I liked very much in this conference was evidently also the importance that many of our speakers, in particular our commissioner, have attributed to the need of a generational renewal and having a young generation of farmers. I was very much impressed by the presentation of the farmfluencers. How many times do we try to show examples of good practices in agriculture? And then we have these young people, and they are not classical influencers as sometimes I see them, but this is people with real life and real work who show through the way they present their farming how committed people are and how much they do to make our agriculture more sustainable. I think this is really something on which we have to rely much more in the future. We here in Brussels, we will not be able to communicate the advantages, the progress, the good sides of agriculture. We need this kind of information to get better. Today and yesterday, you have talked a lot about digitalization and data. And apparently data is everywhere. But every time I need data, I have no data. To make policy, to implement policies. Each farmer has his application now. We have data available everywhere. But then sometimes I ask myself, are these data used for policy making? Look, We are in front of a situation where reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture is a key challenge. Every policymaker asks us, reduce greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture. And fair enough, this is hugely important. But are we sure that all the efforts that you have shown over these 3 days to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, are they counted for? Each farmer has his application. Yes, compared to last year, I have reduced my greenhouse gas emissions. His neighbor also has reduced it. But who counts this on European level? So I think what we really need to look into together is that we make use, and not only on the level of the farm, benchmarking was raised, is hugely important. Not only at the level of the single member states, but at the European level, we need to be able to aggregate this data and to show that we are improving with respect to things where people are expecting us for good reasons: water quality, biodiversity, greenhouse gas emissions. So I'm really impressed by all these practices that are already going on today. Now, on some other elements of this conference, I think it is really good to see that when President von der Leyen has opened this event, she insisted on the importance of the farming sector for European food security and for the strategic autonomy. We are living in times where Europe is struggling in quite a number of areas to have this open strategic autonomy. While in agriculture, we can be proud that for almost all products, we ensure such a strategic autonomy. I think it was also good to see that the European Investment Bank, Nadia Calvino, is personally interested to address one of the key challenges that our farmers are facing these days, in particular young farmers: access to finance, access to land, which is a huge issue. And I know it since years. It is fair to say that the question of access to land is not a competence of the European Union. We are not able, entitled to regulate the question who can acquire, who can buy a real land, a real estate for farming purposes. This is a competence of member states. But how important is it to ensure that such access to agricultural land is assured? This is our primary production potential. Work and land, that makes agriculture. And not taking interest into the question of access of land, I think, would not be well perceived. So I think also our Commissioner Hansen has pointed to this point, how important this is. You have heard the outlook forecasts for the for agriculture in Europe, and you have heard that this year was a particular year. When it comes to cereals, arable crops, our production has decreased from 270 million tons a year in average over the last 5 years to 250,000 tons of arable crops. Natural disasters, floods, droughts might become more usual than in the past. We have to prepare for this, and I think this is why climate and risk management in agriculture will also become a very important issue for the future. I think these are just some elements that you have discussed. Again, I conclude, I really thank you for your interest, for your commitment. I would like to thank Sasha for a perfect moderation. I would like to thank all the speakers, panelists for their excellent contributions. I would like to thank the colleagues from DG Agri. They have a difficult time to organize this event. I am very demanding when it comes to certain elements of this conference, but they do it perfectly. And I would like to thank in particular Nathalie Perrault. She is our event manager of this exercise. Do I see her? She is there. It is very likely that this is the last year that Nathalie Perrault organizes this event, and I really would like to thank her for the dedication, for her commitment to make this event a success. Thank you very much, Nathalie, and all the best. And to all of you, have a safe journey back. Many thanks.
Wolfgang Butcher, thank you very much. Thank you. And also, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, just before you go and have a drink, can I also suggest that we thank the technical team and all the interpreters who are just amazing. Thank you. And a moment for Natalie. Would you go to the mic? Oh, actually, no. Tell you what, it's. All right.
Celui-là, il marche?
See if you've got that one. Lovely.
Yeah.
Well done.
I would like just to say thank you to F1 team. They're great people. They do great things, and I love them. And I'm going to miss them a lot. And a special thanks to Carole, because she's always there for me, and she's always my back. She's really taking care of everything with me, so thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think well worth time for a drink. There are some refreshments for you outside. If I could also thank our online audience who've been with us for the past 3 days. Been lovely to have you here, and thank you very much for all your questions and support. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time here, and there's some drinks outside. Thank you.